I would say 90% of the women that I see, the day that we sit down and go through their labs, they're in tears saying, thank you for finally validating what I've been feeling.
Welcome to Mojo Co, the podcast for unapologetic midlife women who are done playing small, done guessing, and done fighting their body instead of understanding it. I'm your host, Katie Fleece, and this podcast is for women who are ready to get their mojo back, their confidence, their power, and the connection to their body back. We talk hormones, confidence, body image, relationships, and real life with zero filters and absolutely no BS. Nothing is off limits here. If you're ready to feel powerful in your body again and remember who the heck you are, you're exactly where you belong. Let's go. Welcome back to Mojo Co. Super pumped about today's guest, Miss Sarah Brand. So she's actually right here in Indiana, which we go way back because you were my injector and then you were a client. And then now here we are, all the things. And now we work together at Mojo Fit Co. So just so you guys are aware, she is going to be a regular guest on Mojo Co because she's got a lot to say and we have a lot to learn.
So much to talk about.
So much to talk. I mean, well, women's bodies are just very complex.
Absolutely.
Yeah, women's health. There's a lot to learn about our own bodies too.
Absolutely.
I know I'm always picking your brain and I love to, you probably get sick of my text messages like, what do you think about this? What do you think about, how do you feel about this?
But it's better than you just going to Google and I'd rather me help share the information. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Right. Okay, so then today, let's talk about, I specifically want to talk about labs. Okay. And just like different things to look for, what to maybe ask for, things like that. But when we're looking at someone's labs, what is the difference between optimal and normal, which I've been told years ago, this was before you.
Yeah.
When I first went and had my labs drawn, they literally said, oh, everything's normal. And I was like, but I feel like shit,
Right, which is the most frustrating thing to hear.
It's so frustrating. So what is the difference between optimal and normal?
Yeah, so this is one of the first things that I always cover when I'm doing lab reviews with somebody. I literally pull up their labs and I say, right here, you can see this is actually called a reference range. Mm-hmm. So it used to be called normal, and the verbiage has changed to reference range. And what that reference range actually is the population average that has had that test done. So it's not even normal. It's not even like this is the goal.
Yeah.
It's just the average of the people that have had that test done. And then I like to point out, I don't really want to be the average American that's had that test done, right? So why are we shooting for average even as a reference point?
Right.
And then within that reference range, if you kind of think of it as like a bell curve, it's that whole spread where I don't know that I necessarily want to be in like the bottom 2%.
Right.
I like to shoot for the optimal, that upper 95% and above. I'd like to be in the A range for my labs, the way I'm feeling, the way my body's functioning.
Yeah.
So I think understanding that versus normal, which isn't even normal.
Right.
The reference, I don't want to be average. I don't want to be on the lower end of average. We've got to figure out what optimal is.
Right. And so it's almost like, it's kind of like, well, because everybody else is experiencing these symptoms. So that just puts you in the category of normal.
Yeah. And as the population gets sicker, those lab ranges trend down. So every so often, those will get adjusted. A good example of it is testosterone. So within the past 5 years, testosterone reference range has shifted down because our population is so much sicker.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? I want to talk about testosterone because
do a whole episode.
I know for real.
Yeah.
When I first got mine done, I was a 9.
Yeah. Which is wild.
I was a 9. And I remember the lady was like, how are you even sitting in my chair right now? How are you 100%. Not sleeping?
Right.
Yeah. And so can we touch on that? I know this was not planned, but what is, because I think a lot of women too, I do think it's getting better.
Yeah.
And the more people talking about HRT and all of these things, which is not for everybody.
Sure.
But it's also life-changing for some people.
Agree.
But So I do think we're getting better, but I think the word or term testosterone is thrown around.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was this person years ago where I thought testosterone was just for men. Like women aren't even supposed to have it.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which we are. But like, what is some maybe symptoms of women that do have really, really low testosterone?
Yeah, I hear a lot of women saying similar things, especially like in our age group, that when we were growing up and we were taught about hormones, we were taught estrogen's the female hormone, right? And testosterone's the male hormone.
Yes.
Which is ridiculous because all bodies have all of those, right? An interesting thing that I like to throw out is we actually have more testosterone than estrogen in the female body. But somehow we call them like gendered hormones, which is ridiculous, right? And on those reference ranges for women's testosterone, they go down to 0, which I think is rude, right? Like,
what a bitch.
We're okay with you having 0? Like, stop.
Wow.
But again, because that's an average, and so many women never pay attention to their testosterone that it will get to 0 and pull that whole reference range all the way to 0.
Wow.
Which, again, rude. But a lot of the things that show up for women with low testosterone are things like decreased strength in the gym, decreased recovery. Our muscles love testosterone. And if it's so low that they can't recover, like I lift hard today and then I need 2 days of recovery before I can ever lift again.
Yeah.
That's a big one. Task completion. Well, with those of us that have like ADHD brains, it's a little bit of both.
Why are you looking at me?
Right, listen, I just, you and I, babe. But it's that like task completion, like the follow through of getting something done. Like, I have a great idea, but I'm just going to sit on the couch and I'm not actually going to do the thing. Yeah. That's a big one for testosterone. Decreased sex drive is a huge one. And that's become so normal that you're like, well, you're just getting older. You're just going to want it less. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not healthy physically, emotionally, So those are some of the big ones for testosterone.
Yeah. That's a big one for sure. And I've seen for years, and it's almost just kind of like, well, I'm over 40, I'm over 50, I'm over 60. Like, it's just normal not to have a sex drive. And it's like, well, maybe there's actually something else going on.
Correct.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. Which brings me to my next question. So what's something you see constantly with women over the age of 35 that we are told is normal, but is absolutely not normal?
Yeah, so there's a couple big ones. The first one that I tend to see is sleep issues. A lot of times women can get to sleep, but it's like sustaining sleep is a huge issue. That they're waking up at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, can't get back to sleep easily, or early morning awakening. So if I have to get up at 5:30, but I really wake up at 4 and then I can't get back to sleep.
Yeah.
So that's one of the first big symptoms kind of moving into perimenopause is sleep disturbances.
Yeah.
Daytime anxiety is another big one. People can't just like take a deep breath and calm down. I'm anxious about everything and not true diagnosed anxiety, but just like all of the sudden I'm just freaking out all the time.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
Yeah.
Those are big ones. And the other big one that tends to happen in kind of our like midlife transition is abdominal belly fat. So especially women that are like, I've always carried my weight in like my hips and thighs. And now all of a sudden it's right here in my belly. That's a big one that starts to happen with those hormone shifts.
Yeah. Yeah. How many times have we heard that?
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The menopause belly?
The 100%. Yeah. And then the same sort of conversation of like, well, that's just what happens.
Yeah.
You can't do anything about it. Like, you're just shit out of luck once you're 35. And like, you just have to have a big belly for the rest of your life. Like, this is not
Oh my gosh,
okay.
though, so many women assume that.
Yes.
I mean, I see it all the time. It's like, oh, I'm 42 now. And you know what that means? It's
like what?
What's that mean? Like, you know what I mean? Like, and they almost accept it as truth. Like, this is who I am. This is what I have to deal with now. I'm going through perimenopause or I've already hit menopause or whatever. And I just have this belly and it's just something I have to live with. Like,
which makes me so excited about what we're doing is to get the education out that that's not the case.
No.
Like, you don't have to fall into that like victim mindset of like, well, this is my phase of life.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all done. I'm all washed up.
There is
just check the box. We're done here.
It's like the reality is, if you're a woman, you're gonna go through it.
100%.
Like, you can't not go through it, right?
The benefit of or the blessing of living long enough is we go through this change.
Yes.
Right? If you will outlive your ovaries. Like they start shutting down.
Yeah.
But like we don't have to.
Right.
Right? Like we can still do so much.
Well, and I think that's the beautiful thing too about just today's world. That is one blessing where we have come so far that now we can actually deal with this stuff. And not only that, but maybe you're a woman listening to this and you're like, oh shit, like what do I got to look forward to? But there's things that you can do to make like soften the blow almost.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't avoid it, but there are definitely things that you can do to just make it more manageable and still just like thrive in this season of life.
And I think there's a shift in the conversation of traditional medicine tends to say, you're not bad enough yet. Let's wait. Let's watch it. Come back when you're 100% miserable instead of only 80% miserable.
Yes.
Which is insane to me.
Yes.
We don't say that about anything else.
Yeah.
Right? Why is women's health this way?
Right.
Where the shift can be more of, let's learn, let's pay attention. Women know their bodies, right? Women are smart. We know when something has changed and get proactive. You don't have to be miserable before we can start fixing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh, so good. Okay. So getting back to like the belly fat. So I want to go back to that. Okay. So when women come to you for the first time, right? And they're like, oh my gosh, something's wrong with me. I need whatever. Okay. What are they usually, I'm really just curious, like what are they usually blaming their weight gain on or blaming like their exhaustion on?
Yeah.
What are some typical things?
It tends to be in this phase of life that kids are starting to get more busy. Women are growing in their careers and taking on more responsibilities at work. So most of the time women are saying, I'm so busy. I put myself on the back burner.
Yeah.
I'm trying to balance the 20-year-old mindset of calories in, calories out.
Yeah.
You know, I'm on the elliptical for 2 hours every day. Right. And it's just more of, I just can't keep up. And there's a lot of times, like a lot of that, there's something wrong with me. Like, you're not broken. This is just a hormone shift. And we just have to change the game plan. Yeah. You can't just keep doing the same stuff and expect our bodies to do the same when it's changing.
Right, right. Yeah. So good. And we do. I mean, as we get older, we do expect, for some reason, like sometimes when you say it out loud, though, you realize how silly it sounds. But we do expect a lot of times, like, for our bodies to react like they did when we were 22.
Right.
It's like, well,
which is crazy.
They're not going to, you know? So, okay. So what do you think, or not think, but what actually starts happening hormonally in perimenopause that most women don't even realize is happening until they get to that like 100%, I feel like crap, fix me option?
So I think let's define perimenopause.
Okay.
So menopause is 12 months without a period.
Yes.
Which I think is a bad definition because some people don't have a uterus, some people, but that's what the medical definition, 12 months without a period. Average age is 51. Perimenopause is 7 to 10 years before that. So on average, about 40. Is when this is happening, which means plenty of people are doing this in their 30s. And the first things that people start noticing are change in the way they feel. I don't feel like myself anymore. I don't know why, but something is off and something doesn't feel like me. And that's really hard to run a test and figure out what that is, right? You can't test feeling like yourself. So in our late 20s, testosterone starts to decline, which is wild that it happens in your 20s. Typically in the 30s is when progesterone starts to decline. So that's sleep and daytime anxiety. And then typically 40s is when estrogen starts to decline. So that's belly fat. That's the traditional symptoms of like hot flashes, night sweats, those sorts of things. So through that 15, 20-year span, all three of those major hormones just drop. And then our body's just in panic mode because our body's is smart. It wants to have those. Because they're protective for so many other things. So our body starts trying to figure out, what do we need to do? How can we do this? And that's when we start having sleep, anxiety, and belly fat. Are the biggest things.
Lovely.
I know. Well, and then brain fog and memory and all the like neuro things as well.
No libido. I mean, it's all good.
It's perfect.
It's awesome. All right, quick pause to talk about my company, Mojo Fit Co, because this deserves a moment. Mojo Fit Co was built for midlife women who feel off in their body and are just tired of being told to eat less, move more, and deal with it, all right? Women battling hormones, belly fat that comes out of nowhere, low energy, mood swings, and the constant feeling of, why do I not feel like myself anymore? Now look, this is not a basic fitness program, and it is definitely not built by gym bros or 20-year-old influencers. Mojo Fit Co was built for women, by women, designed specifically for this phase of life. Inside, we don't guess, we don't punish your body, and we don't hand you another plan that you gotta figure out on your own. We look at the full picture: hormones, metabolism, stress, lifestyle, everything that you need all under one roof. Because you are never too old to get your mojo back. I can assure you that. And you also need support from someone that actually understands the female body at this stage of life. So if you're ready to feel strong, sexy, clear-headed, and confident again in your body, and you're done with all of the free or cheap BS out there and you want a forever solution, you can apply by clicking the link in the show notes. All right, now let's get back to it. Okay, so then why is there's so much out there, right?
So much information.
So much information, so many influencers selling the latest and greatest supplement. Okay. Why is guessing with that kind of stuff, like the supplements and the workouts and the calories, why is it such a losing game at this stage of life?
Because we can be more precise. I think anything that you can have precision in, why would you not?
Right.
I'm not going to go fill up my like car tire without checking the PSI first, right? I'm not just going to start.
Hang on, time out. Can you really put air? I cannot. I've never been able to fill out.
Let's do gas tank. So I'm not going to put gas into my car.
I've never been able to figure out how to put air in my tire.
We'll go do it when we're done.
Okay, fine. All right. Anyway, sorry.
So if you're gas tank, if you don't know how much gas is in there, I'm not just going to start pouring stuff in. Right. So as far as just like over the counter supplements, like maybe you need something, maybe you don't. But if you don't have the right answer, you're wasting time, you're wasting money, you're wasting like, did your body really need that?
Right.
So I think just dialing in the precision of what's really going on for you, not just some like general protocol you can buy for $20 online, right? Like everyone at 38 and a half needs like, right. It's just that like precision of let's figure out what's really going on. How's it affecting you and what can we do about it?
Right. What are the dangers then of like trying to fix symptoms without actually knowing what's happening?
Yeah, so if you get into some supplement things, you can have different reactions. You can kind of like push yourself down stronger symptoms. There's a lot of things going on right now about NAD that you can literally just buy over the counter, which is wild to me because there are some serious like contraindications to it. Things as far as like cancers and all sorts of different things that people are not talking about.
Wow.
That just honestly scare the shit out of me that somebody's going to get a hold of it.
Right.
And I think just not fully understanding that and not having like the research and the knowledge, the medical knowledge behind it is really scary.
Wow. I know a lot of people on that. And that is something that they've tried to convince me to do and I've never done it. And I'm not saying I'm against it.
Totally agree.
I just don't know enough about it.
And there's a lot of great research that helps a lot of people.
Right.
But you've got to make sure there's not other things going on.
Right.
Before you just turn your mitochondria into overdrive.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a great way to look at it. Yeah. And plus they tell me like every single person I've talked to, they're like, oh my God, it'll knock you out. Like you'll be on the floor. You'll want to pass out. You'll get, and I'm like,
I don't know.
What? I don't have time for that. Like, I don't care how good it is for me. Like, I just don't have time for
that's
that.
A no.
So, okay, that's a no. Okay. Getting back to like women's results.
Yeah.
Can you just explain in like simple terms, like why two women can eat the same, can train the same at this stage in life, but get totally different results? Why is that?
Yeah. So hormones, which tends to be my answer for a lot because that's a lot.
Yeah.
Hormones are literally just chemical messengers in the body.
Yeah.
So if you don't have those messengers that can go talk to your cells, whether that's like thyroid hormone or this is like our sex hormones, which I don't love that term, but, or it's maybe insulin or something else. Insulin's also a hormone. If your hormones, if your communicators are talking differently, if mine are saying one message and yours are saying another, we obviously need different plans.
Yeah.
We can't be doing the same things with our bodies talking differently and expect the same results.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think too, and I've seen it for years. I've been doing this for 20 years and helping like transform the bodies of women. And so many times I'll see, well, oh my God, she did that in 3 months. Well, I'm 4 months in and I don't have those results. And it's like, yeah, because you are just like chemically different.
100%. Yeah.
You have different makeup.
Your starting point is so different.
Yeah. Yeah.
On so many levels.
So many levels.
Yeah.
And there's different things happening in your body that is not happening in hers.
Correct.
And vice versa. You know, it's really just dependent on the individual. And there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
There is so much more going on than just like training and eating right.
Completely. Yeah.
If it were that easy, like
We'd all be, no problem.
we'd all be walking around with 6-packs.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Absolutely.
it's really not that easy.
No.
The older you get,
Correct.
it's just a little more, it's not that it's not doable, because obviously it
Correct.
is very doable.
Yes.
I see it every day.
Yes.
It's just a little more complex.
Yeah. And it's all those little nuances of, and what medications are you on? What supplements are you on? What? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So why is, somebody goes and gets their labs, right? Why is it important to look at patterns
Yeah.
in that lab work, as opposed to just like one number on a lab report?
Yeah. Most of the labs that we do are just a snapshot in time.
Right.
So like glucose, blood sugar.
Right.
It is literally like in that second that your blood comes out of your body, how much sugar is sitting in that like vial of blood.
Right.
That doesn't tell me anything else about insulin or blood sugar over time or how your cells are using it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's a good information. It's a good baseline, but we need that in the context of all the other things that are going on in your body.
Right.
And how your body is responding to nutrition and fitness and medications.
Yeah.
So to watch those things over time is so much more important than just one tiny snapshot in the
Instead
moment.
of just like one blood draw, this is it. This is what's going on.
Yes.
Yeah.
You got to watch how you're responding.
Yeah. Yeah. Which my, I meet with a hematologist every 3 months or so to check my platelets.
Yeah.
And she says the same thing to me, like every time. She's like, yeah, okay, your platelets are this today, which are in the millions. Like, awesome. Really freaking awesome. I remember
So
when you
many
first
platelets.
when you first started working with me, you were like, Katie, is this normal? I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot to tell you.
Yes.
It's fine.
The poor lab girl calls me and she's like, so we have this patient. I'm like, yeah, we're good. Thanks.
She's fine. She's fine.
We're good.
But the hematologist does tell me that every time. She's like, look, your platelets are this today.
Yeah.
But they could be different in, an hour.
Yeah. 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
And it's like with a weigh-in, right? This is a data point. This is information. Right. We like this.
Right.
But it's just a tiny piece of the whole puzzle.
Yeah. So how can labs help us train smarter instead of harder?
Yeah.
Because a lot of us women have that mindset. Like, I'm just not working hard enough. I'm gonna do 2 workouts today instead of 1.
Yeah.
Like,
and for whatever reason, we've been kind of like conditioned to be like, well, yeah, it's hard, but I just push through. Right? That's what we do as women.
Yes.
Yeah, childbirth sucks, but we just push through.
Right.
Like that's what we have been conditioned to do. And at some point that's a good trait, right?
Right.
But we also need to be looking at those like detailed nuances of how can this be helpful? How is your testosterone? Are you going to be able to build muscle, or do you have a testosterone of 6?
Right.
And your muscles are literally suffocating because they can't do anything.
Yep.
Are you to the point of like insulin resistance where you metabolically cannot use the glucose in your body?
Yeah.
So those labs give us that so much more information to just really be able to dive into that instead of just pounding your head against the wall with perfect nutrition, perfect fitness, and then like, but I'm not responding anymore.
Yeah. Okay, so I want to touch base really quick, and I know we're going to do a whole episode on insulin.
Yeah.
But like, how important is insulin and the insulin resistance? Like, can you just give me like a very quick, like, why does that matter so much? Because I don't think a lot of people realize that.
So 10 out of 10 is how much it matters.
I don't think people realize that though.
Yeah, and it's not a standard lab that traditional medicine tends to look at. Usually we get a blood sugar and an A1C. So A1C is like how you diagnose diabetes. It's a 3-month snapshot of blood sugar. But diabetes and blood sugar changes are late symptoms. This has been going on for maybe a decade.
Wow.
And we're just now seeing it showing up. Where insulin is the first step. Insulin's like the very first thing that happens. The pancreas is where insulin comes from. It will put out more insulin to keep blood sugar normal. So blood sugar may still look normal, but that's because we're spitting out so much more insulin to keep it there.
Yeah.
And when that happens, the cells stop allowing as much glucose in. So glucose is our like preferred energy source for the cells, including muscle, including brain, including heart, all of it.
Yeah.
So when the cells stop listening and stop taking in enough sugar, is when we start talking about insulin resistance. And then your metabolism just crashes.
Wow.
Insulin's an inflammatory molecule. It's storage by default. So it will store fat if you have too much insulin in the body.
Wow.
Even if blood sugars look perfect, you're going to start putting on fat.
Yep.
Because insulin, that's its job, is it stores.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I would venture to say, and you've probably seen it just with as many, labs and stuff that you look at, a lot of people, but we're just going to say women because that's who this podcast is for. That's what we're talking about. But a lot of women actually suffer with that. And they've been suffering with it for years.
And have no idea.
No idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Because nobody talks about it, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, that's just a buzzword. That's not really a thing. But when you really dive into it, that your body's having to spit out so much more of this inflammatory storage molecule to keep up with those blood sugar spikes. But then we don't know it until you're diabetic. Yeah. And then we're treating symptoms. We're not fixing the problem.
Wow.
Yeah. It's wild. Yeah, we'll talk all about that.
Yeah. So we're going to do a whole episode on that because we could go on. It's a lot. Yeah. It's a lot. Okay. So just a few other quick questions then before we wrap this up. So why do labs give women their power back instead of making them dependent?
Yeah. So I would say 90% of the women that I see, the day that we sit down and go through their labs, they're in tears saying, thank you for finally like validating what I've been feeling. Yeah. Right. Otherwise, what they tend to get from traditional medicine is everything looks normal. You're just getting old and tired. Yeah. This is just you now. Yeah. Or they get told you're anxious because of anxiety. Here's a drug. Yep. And you're not sleeping well. So here's like a trazodone. Like we're giving out like narcotics.
And you're anxious because you're not sleeping.
And then they just get in this cycle of anti-anxieties and and sleeping medications. And we're not solving the root problem, which is hormones, which is a natural substance and really easy to fix. Yeah. So I think that's the biggest thing about the labs is that they're validating. Yeah. And for me to explain the difference between normal reference range and what's actually optimal, because nobody wants to get a C in their like body in their life, right? Like we all need to be up in that A range of how we feel and how we function. Yeah. So I think it's just the validation of, no, something really is going on. This isn't my head. I'm not crazy. Yeah. Right. Just to have somebody say, no, this is real. Yeah. What you're experiencing is not made up. Yeah. And just this, and it's normal. Yeah. But we don't have to live with it, but it's normal. Right.
It's normal and it's fixable.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, so good. So good. Okay. Last question. Yes. So this phase of life is not the beginning of the end, which
yes,
we hear all the time, like, oh, my best days are behind me, or, you know, like it's just, it all goes downhill from here. Right. It's like, no, it doesn't. But actually the beginning of her strongest era. Yeah. Obviously you agree.
Yeah, 100%.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, I feel like this is the phase of life where women start to figure out, I don't just have to sit and be quiet. Yeah. I think this is where we start figuring out like, no, it is okay to speak up and like want better for me. So much of the women that I see, myself included, are like, we give so much to other people, whether that's husbands or kids or professionally or all these things. And we tend to put ourselves on the back burner. Yeah. I think this is the phase of life where women are like, okay, we did that for the past 20 years. And like, it's my turn. Yeah. I'm going to figure out what's going on. It's okay to ask questions. It's okay to want answers. It's okay to get a second opinion, right? Yeah. If you don't feel like you're getting what you need. And it's just that like empowerment of, no, I'm going to take control of this now. Like, I'm not okay with just feeling like garbage every day. Yeah. And that it's okay to want the best and you don't have to ask permission for that.
And then they start, it's funny to me how they actually don't even realize how bad they felt until they start feeling good.
Yes. Yes. And especially if that decline has taken 10 or 15 years and then we start somebody on hormones or whatever it may be. And I see them in 3 months and they're like, holy shit, I forgot I could feel this good.
Entirely different person. Yep. And I think that's too why, why we see so many 40, 50, 60-year-olds that literally have a body.
It's so fun.
Better than what they,
have ever seen.
Yes. And it's because they're finally like learning how to optimize themselves. You know?
Like you're not like Googling beach body workouts and thinking it's going to work for everybody, right? Like you have
going to GNC and just filling up your basket
just fill me up.
Whatever supplements.
With like some bro that's at the counter.
Right. Right. You're actually learning how to optimize and actually feeling good for the first time maybe in like ever.
And learning what works for your body, right? Like your body and my body need different things. And that's fine. And that's how we're built.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's a beautiful thing.
I know it. It's such a good.
Well, hey, thanks for joining us, girl.
Absolutely.
And like I said, guys, there will be more of Miss Sarah on Mojo Co. She's got a lot to teach us. But thanks for joining, Queen.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Crushed it.